I'm Maritza, and my presentation today is about pit bulls and legislation. So first off, I would like to introduce a brief history about pit bulls. Then I'll present my main claim and supports. So the Staffordshire breed, also known as pit bulls, were originally bred for their good-natured watchdog and family pet protector qualities. In the first half of the century, pit bulls had a positive image in America. During World War I, they came out in a lot of posters, a lot of advertisements. They represented America's courage and the willpower that we have to fight. In the 1930s, you might recall the show Little Rascals. There was a pit bull there that the pit bull was always really friends, best friends with all the little kids, and he was a very strong-willed best friend of all the children. However, in the image of pit bulls, it's suffered in the recent years. So by the end of the century, the pit bulls began to fall into wrong hands of dog breeders and owners. So they began to be bred for fighting dogs just because they're masculine and they seem like to be very strong dogs. It was only a matter of time till people started complaining about the intimidating breed. Pit bulls are now considered outlaws and deviant breeds just because they look intimidating. And they're used for dog fighting, and some people just use them just to have them and sell them for breeding and things like that. So in result, many states and cities within the United States are looking to create breed-specific legislation. This brings me to my main claim, which states that breed-specific legislation regulating pit bulls is unnecessary. First, I'd like to describe what breed-specific legislation is. And this means that pertaining to pit bulls, that only the breed of pit bulls would be mandated to be spayed or neutered, and in some cases banned from cities and states. So I'd like to introduce my first supporting claim, which states that spay and neuter programs already reduce the risk of a person being attacked by any breed of dog. Castrating any specific breed of dog is beneficial overall because it serves as a hormonal control when the pet is in heat. According to the ASPCA, the American Society of Prevention of Cruelty of Animals, castrating your dog will decrease aggression towards other dogs and people, roaming around in neighborhoods, becoming less territorial, and will also have health benefits. They live longer. Therefore, this proves the fact that any dog may potentially have personality issues due to hormonal imbalances. So, also, according to the California State Legislation Bill number 861, this allows breed-specific ordinance pertaining to only mandatory spay-neuter programs and breeding requirements. Provides that no specific breed or mix should be declared potentially dangerous or vicious in the city of county ordinances. So this legislation gives a sense that although there may be a potential danger of vicious canines, pit bulls alone do not serve any greater danger than any other breed. Moreover, my second supporting claim, these pit bulls only become aggressive because of the type of training that they get and the way that they are treated. So the overall description of this breed, according to the Animal Planet, states that they are friendly, docile, playful with family, and pretty much are very loving and are protective to the family. Also, pit bull breeds were not genetically bred to fight and attack when looking at their overall bloodline beginning in the 1800s. They served as a protective breed. Thirdly, any breed of dog could be classified as aggressive. It is how we train and act towards our dog which will lead to whether it is aggressive or not. So even the White House has weighed in against laws that target specific breeds. In a statement done in 2013 by President Obama, he stated that we don't support breed-specific legislation. Research shows that bans on certain types of dogs are largely ineffective and often a waste of public resources. And the simple fact is that dogs of any breed can become dangerous when they're intentionally or unintentionally raised to be aggressive. So therefore, the way to reduce dog attacks is to effectively control people and or groups that are involved in dog fighting and improper breeding, rather than banning the dogs. Lastly, this is going to be my fourth claim, supporting claim, laws that have attempted to apply the breed-specific legislation have had no particular impact on the rate of pit bull attacks. So I'd like to just present this from the CDC. In September 15, 2000, the CDC, which stands for the Center of Disease Control, released a study that was done on specific dog bites within a 20-year span. It studied dog bites between 1979 and 1998. They wanted to summarize the breed of dogs involved in fatal human attacks during a 20-year implication and to assess policy implications. Their data was primarily collected from dog bites recorded from the Humane Society of the United States and the Registry Data Bank. Their results were that although fatal attacks did appear to be breed-specific problems, primarily composing of pit bulls and Rottweilers, other breeds may cause fatalities at higher rates, meaning that the number of fatal attacks collected represent a very small portion of dog bite injuries to people, and that it's virtually impossible to calculate bite rates for specific breeds. Just really quick, there was also another study done in Denver, Colorado, which they also enacted a pit bull breed ban in 1989. Citizens of Denver continue to suffer a higher rate of hospitalization for dog bites related injuries after the ban than the citizens of breed-neutral Colorado countries. So this brings to my conclusion. Breed-specific legislation regulating pit bulls isn't necessary. Based on numerous studies, it has proven to be ineffective, and there definitely are many different alternatives to fixing the issue of aggressive dogs overall.
All right, it takes a while to get to the proposition. You also have kind of a preview of the preview, which seems a little bit awkward. There's a lot of background information. I think that needs to be edited down a little bit. When you do get to the proposition, it's very clearly stated, but it's 1 minute and 45 seconds into the speech. You define the topic pretty well, and then there's no preview of what those supporting points are going to be. So it really feels like you've missed the opportunity to set this up and make it easier for people to follow. In the body of the speech, though, you did a nice job identifying what the supporting points were, so that helps. And you've got clear numerical labels on those points, and they're pretty easy to follow. I think the evidence is a little bit general on some of these things. We've got some general information about castration. We've got this piece of information about California law. I'm not even sure what it is doing in here. The CDC study that you cite seems to suggest that there is a breed-specific problem, but then it diminishes that problem, and it wasn't clear to me in what way the problem was being diminished by the statistic that's being presented here. So that needs to be a little bit clearer. Part of what might be happening is that either you're quoting the summary in this particular case without giving it enough context, or you're paraphrasing what the study said, and or somebody else is paraphrasing it, and then you're repeating that paraphrase. And I think it would be helpful to maybe have the more specific and precise direct quote there. And if that is a specific direct quote from the CDC, there has to be an explanation of what that statistic means, because like I said, I thought it was a little bit confusing. To me, one of the things that I thought was interesting was same sort of thing. I think you need a citation on the Denver, Colorado data, but that was a good piece of information to show that these breed-specific laws are not particularly effective, and I like that. I thought that that supported your point very well. All right, thank you.